Hey Casey, how you doing? It's Nancy. Hey, I'm gonna set up a trip for Monty Fort. My whole adult life has happened here. So anyone I've crossed paths with through all of these years, and a lot of people are still in the NFL. They knew my kids when they were little kids, and now, my kids are grown up and married. I have grandchildren, and their children were born into my world, and feel, so blessed that I was around so many good people.
Nancy Meier is the Director of Scouting Administration for the Patriots. Entering her 44th year, she is the longest tenured employee in the organization, having started her career in 1975.
I had just graduated from fashion merchandising college and had been doing some job interviews and wasn't successful finding something. I have an older sister who had a friend who was working here, and she needed someone, an assistant, to come in. The Patriots weren't a big deal in the early 70s. They had just moved to Foxborough, trying to fill the stadium, and so finding my way here was just kind of a stroke of luck. The bosses were all male, and the secretaries were all, female. You would answer the phones in the 70s. It was very Mary Tyler Moore-ish. Hello, Mr. Kilroy's office or Mr. Steinberg's office. And at that point in time, there were no computers. And scouts would travel throughout the country and go to colleges and evaluate players and handwrite their reports and fold them up and put them in envelopes and mail them to the office. Hundreds of them coming in a week at a time. And we'd type them, and then everything had to be filed in books. So, there were just stacks of just clearly clerical kind of things to do. 1975 draft. Wow, I had no idea this stuff existed. I thought for sure through the transitions from stadiums and moving that this was gone. Look at that, Chuck Fairbanks wrote his own reports. My very first drafted player in my first draft was Russ Francis. Russ Francis, real good college tight end who has everything to do it in the pros. Always in control. To this day, I keep a picture of Russ in my office to remind me of my very first draft. This is Russ Francis, my first draft choice in 1975. We're all about the same age, which is interesting about that. That's a lot different than being so much older than these guys coming in now. I'm beyond their parents' age, for crying out loud. Certainly I don't evaluate players, but you learn what a good running back would be and what an offensive lineman would be. That's the data that you were accumulating in the 70s, which is really the same you're accumulating now. Hey Christian, it's Nancy at the Patriots. Anything come up in the last hour or so that I can help you with your family, and I'll be in touch probably again on Monday. Yeah, you're probably still spinning, huh? How can you stay in one job such a long time? Because it does change. It changes every day, it changes every month. What happens in September really doesn't happen again until September the next year.
She manages a number of things on a day-to-day basis that people don't see or don't recognize.
During the football season, a lot of events that occur with players and, any roster movement goes through our office, a player coming in, a player going out, player contracts, they're negotiated, and the paperwork all comes through our support staff and Nick and myself. There's transportation, there's contracts to be signed, there's getting the player into the facility. Football season ends, our scouts are going to bowl games and all-star games, and then we've got the combine. The scouting combine is one of our big events, and so we end up bringing 40 or 50 staff. So it's a pretty big project, just organizing everyone's comings and goings and meetings and hotels and flights and, just everything involved. So free agency rolls around, you're bringing veteran players in, and then you're bringing all the drafted players in before the draft and mini camps, and then all the logistics that everybody has to jump in on that, because you've got 25 new players that are going to come in the door within 10 days. It's the next project. Thank God for all these projects.
She also handles all the league communication, which is very extensive, from the waiver wire to trades to all different types of forms and communication. Honestly, it's too many things for any of us to keep track of, except for her. Somehow she manages to always, don't forget to send this in, don't forget to do that.
We wouldn't be able to do our job as a department without her. I mean, she's so instrumental in, I would say, our overall success and our overall day-to-day operation that, I mean, there's not too many people that are like her.
If she hasn't witnessed all of the history of the franchise, it's pretty close. She's worked with 9 different coaching staffs.
I feel very fortunate because I do look back, see so many people that I've had an opportunity to be around. Chuck Fairbanks, very in control of the organization and very caring of his players, a true coaching pioneer. It was very disappointing that he left so soon. I really wonder where we may have gone if he had stayed. Bucko could embellish any story he told. He was the largest person I think I had ever seen. And sitting at this table being introduced to Bucko, and he put his hands down, and I'm telling you, those fingers were like sausages. Our relationship was forever. Bill Parcells, such a special person to me. One of my very special moments with him is being able to go to his Hall of Fame induction. When you've worked with someone and then see them reach the pinnacle of what you can do and be able to be there for it, it was amazing.
It's my honor and pleasure to introduce Bill Belichick.
I feel so fortunate and so lucky that this part of my career has unfolded the years it has and been able to be here with Bill Belichick. Bill is what drives us all. Bill doesn't ask anything of anyone that he wouldn't do himself. And I think that that gives us all such a good foundation to follow. Scott Pioli, he's a demanding person, but his rewards would be tenfold. His first day when he came from the Jets here, one of the first things Scott said to me is he said, "My father-in-law said I better be nice to you." And his father-in-law being Bill Parcells. So Scott and I think, had immediate connection. I cried my heart the day he left. Nick Caserio probably is the nicest gentleman, father, husband, someone to come in and work with every day. He is an amazing person and worked harder than anyone to earn everything he's ever got. He'll be one of the most special people in my life, always.
Really what it says is how special a person and how special an individual that she is. And I would say the way she handles herself and the relationships that she's been able to maintain, she's as well respected as anybody, I would say, not only in her position, but league-wide.
Nancy is in a very exclusive club, as she is one of the only individuals in the organization to have been to all 10 of the franchise's Super Bowl appearances.
This is my collection of all the Super Bowls that I've been to with the Patriots, which is 10, beginning in 1985. And the price of the tickets has changed significantly over the years. This was our first Super Bowl in New Orleans in 1985 season, January 26, 1986. $75. Imagine $75. I don't think you could even park at a Super Bowl for $75. It's hard to believe that to be part of the New England Patriots now, you would feel like you were some kind of country bumpkins. But I think we for sure went into New Orleans as country bumpkins. This is our first win against the Rams, and boy, what a day that was. Probably for everybody who's a Patriot fan, that was just like beyond glorious. I'm so thankful I was part of all of these championships, and getting there and winning is definitely the way to go. No question about that. When you win that first Super Bowl and that confetti falls your color, and wow, wow, what a day.
The Patriots are Super Bowl champions, the best team in the National Football League.
Whether it's free agency, prospect visits, or Patriots draft picks, it's likely that the first face people see when they walk through the door is that of Miss Nancy.
Nancy Meier, she had one of the warmest greetings, like the smile, just welcoming you in. As soon as you walked through the door and you talked to her, you felt like you was already home. She's definitely somebody special.
These guys will just naturally give me a hug. You know, hey, Miss Nance, as I'm most warmly known around here as Miss Nance.
She has a little bit of the motherly, connection with again, all the people in the organization that sometimes need a, arm around them, or, a little pat on the back, or maybe a shoulder. She's kind of there to support them and help them, and so she does a great job on the personal end of this too.
You need to have conversations with people here that don't involve football. You walk into Nancy's office and it's, hey, Teddy, and the big smile and the hug and the love, and you need a little piece of that here, and Nancy was that piece for me in terms of, all right, we got all these grumpy old coaches, okay, yes, that's fine. We know there are good people here, and Nancy leads the charge.
To see guys like Teddy B come in here, his life happened here too. He came in a single guy, met his wife, and then had his children. His children went to school, so his adult life happened here.
She gets you feeling all warm and fuzzy inside, and there's not a lot of people here that can do that.
Being able to be here through it, and then to have this part of the New England Patriots, really the craft ownership has changed so much for the New England Patriots. When you drive in here every day and you see the stadium and Patriot Place and the Hall of Fame and a movie theater and everything that a fan can come here and enjoy. But as someone who's driven here for 43 years, I'll still drive in and look and think, wow, what a lucky person to come here every day. It's pretty amazing.
On the next episode of Do Your Job, we go inside the Patriots scouting department.